Let's kick it off. I'm your host, Steve, and I'm joined by Ash and AJ, the Arsenal fan who's been on the podcast before, and Sal, another Arsenal fan. Season ticket holder, right, Sal?
That's right, yeah.
Nice. How long have you been a season ticket holder for?
They're around 15 years, so I've seen the
Wow.
bad times as well.
Wow. So
Has
that
there
would
been
have
any
been
good times?
Coming, it's nearly there, we're nearly there.
Fair play, fair play. That's a long time. So yeah, cool. All right, there's only one place to start. Obviously, Manchester City, Arsenal on the weekend. People were saying it was a title decider. Manchester City won 2-1. So AJ, I'll come to you first. What did you make of the game?
The game itself, I think with sort of City in the form they've shown since the League Cup final, really, I think they were probably slightly the better team on sort of balance of play. I thought Arsenal turned up and did pretty well. I didn't expect them to go sort of as attacking as they did with Eze left wing, Odegaard playing. I thought there were some good performances. I don't think anyone really sort of hid. I thought Madueke was poor, but he got hooked sort of at half time. But overall, in terms of Arsenal, I thought, they gave it a go. And City were just slightly the better team on the day, really. So yeah, that's it's unfortunate, but it's where we are, really. It should have been done and dusted before this game.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Yeah, I mean, as a neutral, it was a great game. Like the intensity, like you could tell there's so much on the line. So Sal, when obviously Ryan Cherky scored that first goal, really good goal to be fair. How are you feeling in that part of the game?
When he scored, and I
Yeah,
knew it was Turkey, I was like, not Turkey. No, not him. Because, it brought back of, memories of him in the Carabao Cup, doing all the little keepy up. He's diving on the floor, smiling at the City fans and whatnot. It just makes my blood boil, honestly. I hate the guy with passion, but, great player. Probably we should have gone in for him, but it is what it is. I mean, at that point, I just thought, 1-0. I think he scored in the 17th minute or something like this. I can't
yeah,
remember now.
quite early.
But yeah, it was quite hurtful, I'd say.
Yeah, but like, did you feel obviously going the goal down in such a big game? Obviously, the pressure was massive. Did you feel like, oh shit, like where's this heading? Or did you feel relatively confident that you felt like you could get back in it?
No, I mean, the way we started, I felt like, yeah, you know what, right? We're going to get chances in the game, but we just need to take our chances. And unfortunately, we've not been doing that in the last couple of games. Yeah, I mean, even against Man City, we have so many great chances, but it just wasn't meant to be. You had Eze hitting the post inches close to the for the ball going in. Gabriel hitting the post right out there. In the 94th minute, I think it was Havertz with that header. Should have buried that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did feel like we could have got a goal or two.
Mm-hmm.
More. Well, it's what it is.
It was a tight game, and obviously, Ash, you were watching it with another Gooner, part of the community, Callum. So shout out Callum, and shout out to his son Alfie turning 1 on the weekend. So you were watching it with him. I'm assuming when City scored, you're like internally laughing, but couldn't really laugh in front of Cal. And then obviously Arsenal got the equaliser very quickly after with that crazy moment from Donnarumma. So yeah, talk to me about those few minutes in that household.
Yes, it's funny Sal mentioned the Cherky thing because I think it was last season. We just had the 1 year anniversary of Manchester United against Lyon, and I think Cherky did something when they were winning, similar to what Sal was saying. Like I think he put like a hands up to the crowd at Old Trafford, and then obviously we know what happened. So when he danced through the Arsenal defence, I'll be honest, I was actually in admiration. And then Cal very discreetly pointed out to me like the first mistake on the goal where Eze, he actually kind of moves away from the ball if you actually see the footage. And I never actually picked it up. And it just shows you the differences that you see as a neutral versus, your own club. So that was like the first one. But yeah, obviously, fantastic goal. First of all, and then defensively you can pick holes in it, but it's a magic goal. But that's the key. Arsenal got back into it, And to be fair, like people, I always give Arsenal fans a hard time, but actually Arteta deservedly got that goal because he set up in a way where they press high. And they obviously saw the weakness in Donnarumma in terms of closing him down. So fair play for getting the goal so quickly and leveling it. And generally, I agree with the boys. I thought Arsenal played really well. I think the difference was literally the finishing. Havertz should have scored at least one, probably two. Eze is incredibly unlucky. Like, that was a fantastic strike.
That was at 1-1, right, as well, when you hit the post.
And if I remember right, I think Havertz had already had the one-on-one chance already, and then Eze's hit the post. So Arsenal in the ascendancy, and then it's the minor details. I saw some of the highlights this morning, and it was like Martinelli presses, and Donnarumma then launches the ball into Nico O'Reilly, and they're away. And those are the marginal things that you need to be on top of, like, in a big game. But considering City have been the best team for, like, unfortunately, for like 7-8 years, I think it's one of the best away performances I've seen. From an opposition team to come, and they didn't park the bus. So I thought actually Arsenal were very unlucky. And it was a great contest between Gabriel and Haaland. Like, it was a proper game, I have to say. So I really enjoyed it, even as a neutral.
Yeah, let's touch on that incident then between Gabriel and Haaland. So, Sal, was that a red card in your book for Gabriel? If you take the Arsenal, lens out, if this was another team, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean,
Maguire.
when I saw that, when I saw him move his head towards him, and I'm thinking, no, don't go down Haaland, because if he would have went down straight away, red card. But I mean, it was.
To be fair
card.
though, Haaland did push him, because I was watching the highlights before just to remind myself. He pushed him like pretty.
But he puts his head into him first. But obviously, Gabriel's fell for the trap, right?
Yeah,
he should have been off. In terms of, like, if you've watched other games, 9 times out of 10, that's a red. I mean, I actually thought the referee dealt with it correctly, and yellow card for both of them.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because, like, by the letter of the law, it's probably a red, but then
letter of the law, it's red. Yeah,
people talk about managing the game, right, AJ?
Exactly.
So, like, because it's a big game, are the rules supposed to change? Like, is that fair? What do you think?
Yeah, same as Sal. When I saw that, straight away, red card. If I sort of think back to the game at the Etihad last season, and Trossard just before half-time got a red card. Yeah, exactly. Just silly red card for kicking, a second yellow for kicking the ball away. Again, that's letter of the law, and at the time, City were sort of considered title challengers along with Arsenal. And, we had to play basically the whole of the second half with 10 men. I didn't see why that, the referee, sort of went against the letter of the law. But glad he did, because it kept for a good game.
I reckon he was probably enjoying that tussle between the two, the centre back and the centre forward. So I think he was probably enjoying that more than, if he would have booked them, it would have been a totally different game, maybe.
What card does Gabriel get for ripping Haaland's sleeve? Is that like an orange?
Yeah, that was probably a cheap shirt he had on, definitely, just to make it look worse.
A fake one.
just to sort of
like it's Slazenger or something like that from Sports Direct, right?
Yeah.
Trying to say it's like made in Sri Lanka or something, AJ.
I never disrespect the Sri Lankans, but in terms of just to change the sort of topic of conversation, we've seen Haaland and Gabriel go at it, and he's always really good. Haaland usually gets a goal against Arsenal. That's just how it is. But Gabriel does give as good as he gets, and it's always enjoyable to see. And I sort of liken it to, all into cricket. So, a bowler into, a really good batsman, you might get hit for 2 fours or 3 fours, but if he gets him out, that's all that anyone remembers. And it's the same with this. But what I'd say is I've seen Saliba deal with Haaland really well, a lot better than Gabriel does. I don't know what you think, Sal, especially in the League Cup final. Saliba didn't really give Haaland a sniff. And I do think it's a conscious effort from Haaland to go into battle with Gabriel and leave Saliba alone. That's my feeling, and I think it's a smart move from Haaland because he knows he might get an opportunity with Gabriel as he has done previously, whereas Saliba generally doesn't really give him too much. So yeah, no, it's an interesting sort of tactic from Haaland. But yeah, you could see that in the League Cup final a few weeks back. Saliba didn't really give him a sniff.
Yeah, totally agree on that, AG. And the way you're saying, if one centre back can't deal with it, another can. And it's like, we're in a privileged position to be having 2 top world class centre backs, of that caliber, who can deal with Haaland, and if he goes on a yellow, then the other one picks him up, sort of thing, and deals with him. So I wasn't, to be honest, really and truly, I wasn't really that worried about Haaland. It was more like the wider positions, the Semenios, the Dokus, and Nico Riley, on the overlap on the left hand side, on the right hand side of Mosquera.
Yeah, fair. And I was just want to touch on like Gabriel, because obviously he's a top defender. You touched on it there, Sal. You've got a few. And I know like his character is to play on the edge, and that's why he's probably so good. So like, Sal, do you hold it against him that he sometimes boils over, like the headbutt incident, or do you just accept that's the way he is as a character, and we reap the rewards of it most of the time, and we've got to take the downside with it?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, you just take it as it comes, and whatever's it's like blow to blow, isn't it? It's punch for punch,
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
things.
Yeah, it
It's
reminds me a little bit
fine.
of like Wayne Rooney. Like obviously he was so aggressive and played on the edge, and like he would do stupid things, and specifically us would call him out. Yeah, but like that's his genius, though, isn't it? It's like you can't just switch it off. So
I think that's why I
Yeah.
enjoyed the battle, because it's rare as well to have a battle so good. So like, yeah, a lot of people would be like, oh, Haaland won the battle because he scored. It's almost like what AJ said, like if Warren gets Tendulkar out, everyone just remembers Warren getting the wicket, that everyone forgets like the 10 boundaries he blasted him for. And I think that was what was good about it, because generally in the Premier League, it's like you don't really get those battles anymore. There's less centre forwards in the Premier League anyway. And also, I've said it on this pod a few times, I think the quality of defending this season has been pretty average as a collective. But obviously, Arsenal are an outstanding team defensively, and that's why I think it was a good battle. I mean, AJ was on, I think, the opening day pod, and obviously me and you, Steve, we were at the game, and I said Gabriel and Saliba were outstanding. So like they've had that form throughout the season, and it's an interesting point that AJ made about Saliba. It's not just probably the way he deals with Haaland, but yeah, it's his mentality. He's like, this cool French dude. Whereas Gabriel is, classic South American, but you do love that if it's like Nemanja Vidic for us, right, back in the day. So I get it. But yeah, like really good level of football.
Yes, just to add to that, I don't think you'd get any Arsenal fans sort of moaning about Saliba. I'm not talking about sort of Twitter people or anything like that, but sort of generally, you wouldn't see Arsenal fans moaning about that sort of stuff. And like you both said, Sal and Steve, it's every now and again it does boil over, but it really is maybe once a season or something like that. I can't think of too many sort of situations where he's made a rash challenge and cost us the game.
Yeah.
Very, very rare.
Yeah.
And you'd forgive the headbutt. Not long after he did it, it was not. It doesn't cloud my judgment of not only his performance on Sunday, but just generally over the season.
Yeah,
got a question for the boys. Teta, would you have done anything differently? Was he fine in terms of what he did?
From my perspective, I'd have left Eze on. That's the only thing I'd have said. I didn't quite get why he took Eze off. I thought Odegaard was really good. A little bit rusty, but I thought he pressed really well. You can tell the level of pressing in the team goes up when he plays.
100%.
I would have tried to find a way to keep Eze on with Odegaard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing I'd have thought really over the weekend.
What about you,
Yeah,
Sal?
same, AJ, honestly. You know, Arteta is not to blame for anything at all, especially for that game. There was a massive grey area like before the game started. Is he going to set up to be defensive? Is he going to be setting up to, attack? Now, in my mind, I was thinking if he's going to set up to be defensive, we're going to lose the game 2-3-0. But whereas he's gone for attack, and to be honest, when I actually saw the team sheet, and I saw Eze left wing, Havertz up front, and then Madueke, obviously, we've not got another option on the right. Otherwise, it would have been Saka. And then Odegaard behind. I felt like, you know what, this guy's going for it. And he's got every right to do so. Because, if we're set out to attack, then we're at least probably going to get a draw, nick a draw somehow, And that should have been the case. I think it should have been, a draw. I think a draw would have been the best result for both teams. But it's just not meant to be. But honestly, the way we set up, it was really good. High press, first 20-30 minutes, we were winning the ball right up. Who goes to City and presses like that? I've never seen a team that's done that in the last couple of years. So we probably, I think it was about 7 or 8 times in the City half, close to the box, we've actually won the ball and created the opportunity. But if we can keep playing like that, the way we did, the way we started against other teams, then I think we should be winning all our next couple of games.
Yeah, I think the difference.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve, I know you're going to jump in there, but
No,
I think the
it's-
difference between two teams was probably Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of them players you'd love to have him in your team. But on the opposition side, you just hate him because he's everywhere. He's at left back, he's at right wing. He's just all over the show. Runs the game. I think the Premier League will be a lot poorer without him. City have lost a few great players over the last sort of 3 or 4 seasons with David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne as well. But yeah, I think he was superb on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it's a
I
top
think,
player.
sorry, just touching back at the Eze part, which you mentioned, AJ. When I saw the board go up and it was Eze's number on there, I was thinking, no way, you can't do this. He just literally hit the post. I know it means nothing, but that shot wasn't even on. He created that.
Who did he bring on? Who did he bring on for Eze?
Yeah, Trots had a Martinelli. I think he made a double sub, didn't he, at that time?
Yeah.
No,
both.
Martinelli came on at half time.
Sorry, no, yeah.
It would have been Trossard and
But
maybe
what I probably would have done was,
Yeah.
like AJ said, try find a way of keeping Eze on, because he was literally making everything tick. I probably would have taken off Zubimendi and put, Rice a bit further back, deep in, and then put Eze and Odegaard in that position, and maybe Havertz on the left, or,
To be
Trossard
fair,
up front.
Arteta's done that a few
Or
times though with
front
Eze,
three.
right? He's
Yeah.
taken Eze off when
Yeah.
generally
he-
Arsenal fans want to keep him on longer. So he
Yeah.
does probably see him as like a 60 to 70 minute player. Then he brings on one of his other wingers.
Yeah, and I
or
was actually
tens.
surprised, and I was actually surprised of Odegaard like completing the whole game, like coming back from injury as well. It's like, high pressured game. He's been he's been pressurizing City's defense the whole game. He's been running miles that game. Credit to him. He's he finished the game.
Yeah, fair play. So yeah, it was obviously a really tight game. Like, top level sport is always about moments, and I think that game came down to it. So looking at the league table now then, so as we record this, it's Tuesday night and we're all a bit giddy because Chelsea lost 3-0. Manchester City are playing tomorrow against Burnley, right? Burnley away, and that's their game in hand. So by the time this pod comes out on Thursday, it's possible that City will be level on points with you. So obviously you're on 70 points, 33 games played, 5 games to go. Manchester City are on 67 points, 32 games played. So that could well be 70 by Thursday, unless there is a slip up, which I'm sure you boys will love. Yeah. Sal, come to you first. How are you feeling then for this final stretch of the season, the final 5 games?
Well, I mean, to be honest, before the City game, I thought, you know what, we're gonna lose to City anyway. So in my mind, even after City played Burnley, I knew we were gonna be level on points. So that mentally, I'm there. Like, you know, I'm level on points already with City. They're gonna batter Burnley like 4 or 5-0 tomorrow or something, whatever it is. But
So you're going to be
final
second, yeah,
stretch,
because of goal difference.
yeah, second because of goal difference. But you know, because we're going to be second, it might actually help us now. Like, you know,
Chaser.
Arteta, yeah, like, you know, he needs to tell them, look, boys, last couple of games, final stretch, you need to get the goal difference up. Go out, do your thing. You know, get Eze attacking, Odegaard on the ball as much as possible. Get Havertz and Gyökeres through the middle. Like, you know, starts first and just put away your chances, for God's sake. Honestly, that's what's going to matter.
Yeah, fair play. And obviously, I mentioned 5 games left, but you know, some teams like Manchester United aren't in Europe these days, but you boys are, to be fair. And you've got a massive tie against Atletico Madrid, right, in the semi-finals as well. So that's thrown in the mix. So yeah, AJ, same question to you, really. How are you feeling in this, ahead of this final stretch?
Yeah, I think there'll be a few. Excuse me. I think there'll be a few twists and turns. I don't think it's as clear cut as everyone says that City are going to win all their sort of remaining games. But what I would say is, if City do slip up, do I trust Arsenal to take advantage? Not
Question mark.
sure I do. Yeah, with dropping points against sort of Forest away, obviously Bournemouth at home, that was a killer. You know, Wolves away in the
yeah.
last minute. You know, there's been a few moments over the last few months that you just think, you know, we shouldn't be in this position where we're sort of,
Yeah.
you know, chasing our tail. So I'm not 100% convinced that City will, you know, win every game, but I don't feel that, you know, I don't feel that confident that we'll win every single game of ours, to be honest.
Okay. So
I think there might just be one more turn in this title race as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I just feel something might just happen, and maybe we can actually try grip it again. And 2 specific fixtures that stand out for me against City would be, I think they've got Everton away and Bournemouth away. Everton on a Monday night at 8:00, and then Bournemouth away the following week. I mean, I think it's before one of them 2 games, before they even kick a ball, we could be 6 clear again. So that psychologically might have a big impact on City as well. You know, push comes to shove, you never know. But only time will tell. But, you know, they are the 2 fixtures that I look at and I thought, and I think, you know what, might be something there for us.
Yeah. It hangs in the balance, right? But are either of you boys willing to say here right now you believe you're going to win the title?
I'm always confident in Arsenal. Always.
Very Keir Starmer answer.
Even in the AFTV height days, always confident.
I'm sure you'll you know, screen record this and send it to me after the final game of the season. But I mean, what's the point? You know, if you're not confident about your team, you know, we're in the semi-finals of the Champions League. You know, we're competing at the top of the Premier League consistently. You know, you've got to have some sort of belief that we can do something.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I'm sort of naive to the reality that, you know, City are in the ascendancy year. You know, like you said, you know, they're not in the Champions League. They've not got those sort of high pressure fixtures in a semi-final of the European Cup, whereas we do against Simeone, you know, the worst. The worst. Yeah, so it's one of them, but I still believe in the boys. Of course I do.
Yeah, same with me, honestly. Arsenal through and through. And, you know, this is a message to the Arsenal fans as well, that if you think that we're not going to win the league, there's no point in you come to the games anymore. You know, just give up your tickets right now.
Yeah, fair play.
I
Just
like
stay
it.
home.
Rally call.
There's no point, honestly.
No,
If
I rate that.
there's I think there was a quote from Arsene Wenger years ago. If you do not believe, then you can. No, if you do not believe you can do it, then you have no chance at all. You know,
Yeah, fair.
just
Any
just go
fans
out
you want
there,
to point
put your
out near you
just
in the
just go
ground?
there, put your heart out. What's that?
Any fans you want to point out in the ground or like the stands at the Emirates who need to show up or
No,
give their
but
tickets away?
I will have my eyes peeled when I go to the Newcastle game on the weekend, and I'll look out for whoever's not on it.
Yeah, so on that point, right, like Arsenal fan base, and like, yeah, obviously, like you're going to be nervy because this isn't a dig, but
Yeah.
you've not won the title for 20 years, right? So it's obviously going to be nervy. I was watching the overlap the other day, and Gary Neville, Scholes, and Keane were kind of winding up Ian Wright. Obviously, Ian Wright, you know, he's openly saying he's nervous, and then Roy Keane kept saying, "You're top of the league. You're the best team in the league. You're in the semi-final of the Champions League, like you said, AJ. You're clearly a top team. So like, there's definitely a mentality element here as well, right, AJ? Would you say like just that, you know, experience of having been there, done it, which City and Pep have got, but obviously you boys don't at the moment.
Yeah, of course. I think that has to also sort of come into it when you sort of look at predictions and stuff. You know, City, I mean, not all their squad has been together for a while. Excuse me. But the main two players you look at in midfield, Rodri, I know he's injured for tomorrow, but Rodri, Bernardo Silva, in there, done it. Centre of midfield that can control the game, control the tempo, take the sting out of games. And then obviously you've got Haaland again, who's been there and done it. And then the rest of the squad, you've got to say that apart from Donnarumma, who's done it at, you know, PSG and Milan, and with the national team, it's still a new team, but they've got a core of, you
Yeah,
know,
but what you need to remember, AJ, is that they've been there, they've done it, and they've done it under Pep. You know,
yeah, that's
not
what I'm
really.
saying. So in terms of the rest of the squad, there
Yeah.
isn't as much as you think. It's
Yeah.
3 or 4 players really. Probably a couple on the bench like Phil Foden and maybe 1 or 2 others.
Yeah.
But generally, you know, the fullbacks haven't been there. Nunes and O'Reilly. The wingers haven't done it. It is really reliant on the 2 midfielders and the
Yeah, but the thing is, if like, you know, they do have players in certain positions, you know, where they've gone there, they've done it.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they know how to get it over the line. You've even got Diaz. I know he's injured. You've got Stones. You've got all these
Yeah,
players who are not being spoken about because they're injured, but they're still there. They're part of the squad.
true. Yeah.
You know, they're in the changing room. They know how to do it, get it done. But with Arsenal, unfortunately, we're not in that. We've not had that opportunity, and I think that's where we're sort of like cracking at the wrong time.
Yeah,
You know,
and
this season.
and on that again, so like you might be able to trace your dip in form this season back to when Manchester United turned up at the Emirates and Michael Carrick obviously pulled off a result. So like on that game specifically, like I was watching on TV. Sal, you're there week in, week out at the Emirates, so I'm really interested to hear from you here. Like I can't remember exactly, but around half time, the game was in the balance, and then you just like sensed the nervous energy. I sensed it on the TV, like question to you then, do you feel it in the ground, number one, and number two, if so, like what is that? Is that just the nerves of what we've been speaking about like filtering through?
Are we talking about just the United game or
That
just
game was
overall?
like, because it's a specific example, but you know you've probably seen it in other games as well, so like, yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, sort of you're kind of right, because there was a lot of uncertainty and nervousness around the stadium at that point. Mainly because you guys beat City the week before. And like,
Thanks
you
for
know,
reminding
we
us.
thought, you know what, you've got the whole new manager bounce kind of thing,
Yeah,
and that's like that's probably the worst time to play a team who have got a brand new manager. Unless if you're Spurs, that's fine.
yeah.
Just play them week out.
Good dig,
You know,
good
week
dig.
in, week out.
That's a great
I would
dig.
love to play them week in, week out.
Yeah.
Might need
But
the
yeah,
FA Cup or
there
League
is,
Cup next season.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, there is. You do feel like there is a sense of nervousness around the Emirates, especially if we do not start well. Like, you know, if we're under the cosh in the first 20 minutes, half an hour, then you just sense like, shit, you know what, they're going to get a goal. If they get a goal, where's our goal going to come from? Set pieces have dried up, unfortunately, but maybe that's not a bad thing, because now they need to put the ball in the net with like, you know, on the ground, or, you know, by putting in crosses and whatnot, do it the proper football way. Because when I was watching Leeds versus Man United the other week, honestly, I was watching that game and I was thinking Leeds are playing amazing football, and it was just end-to-end stuff. And there was a point where I was thinking, with us Arsenal fans, we've become so accustomed to watching defensive style of play that we've just forgotten how to play or how to enjoy watching real football. Yeah, so there is definitely a sense of nervousness around the Emirates, especially if we don't start well, and being top of the table doesn't really help as well. I mean, even
The
though
pressure.
we enjoy it, but it's
Yeah.
just not easy being there.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I guess we saw kind of similar with Liverpool, getting close to the title, and obviously they hadn't won it for like 30 years, and it's just, there's so much like anxiety around. So Ash, like, as much as we take the piss out of Arsenal with, the crumble in the oven, etc.,
Do
but
we?
yeah, apparently we do. Are you slightly are you slightly jealous of the situation they're in? They're going for the title. They're in the Champions League. Sorry, semi-final of the Champions League. These are the days we loved, right? And in the moment, like, it's that nerve, that jeopardy, which you deep down you love. So, like, yeah, are you jealous in terms of where they are?
Yeah, I'm in awe. Like that game, that's what I say. I really enjoyed the game on Sunday because it's first and second going for the league in April. British summertime has come. Champions League semi-final. So like, when kickoff, it's going to be like that, like that dusk time going into night. I love all that. And I badly miss it. And that's why when Ruben was screwing up last season, I was the first to like speak up, because like I just don't want, United to go down unnecessarily. Carrick's proven that you don't need to go that far down to get back up, and obviously Arteta's a great example, and we'll probably talk about it in more detail. Is that when Arteta joined, was it 2019, boys?
It's pre-COVID.
Obviously, I think Emery had finished fifth the following season, and then they started off badly. Brave move by the board to get Arteta in. And as Sal's mentioned, like, it's been progressive. But as much as, we've all talked about Bottle for the last 2-3 years, Arsenal have been in the title race at least till April for the last like 2-3 seasons. So they've had that enjoyment factor. Some of the football they played like 2-3 years ago was outstanding. But yeah, like definitely in awe of what they've been doing. And this is the thing, like, the guys have been talking about City. I think it's real simple. Pep Guardiola. It's as simple as that. Like, I know players are incredibly important, but I'm telling you, like, pretty much any other manager in charge of that Manchester City squad aren't doing what City are doing right now and bringing this like form together. Like, I had this insane stat that Pep Guardiola, since 2021 April, he's undefeated in the league. I think he's won 19 games and 2 draws in that 5-year period. I mean, it's insane stuff. And obviously the way City do it year in, year out, it's very reminiscent of Fergie, right? Like, it is just like a machine. And I cannot wait till he goes.
7 titles it will be if they win it.
I honestly, I don't want him to go soon, because I want Arteta to get the edge over him, and then
Fair.
he goes.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get that.
this week, yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So, Ash, gun to your head, who's going to win the title?
I actually think Arsenal are going to do it. Some of the reasons have been mentioned. This isn't actually a vintage City team. I think the Rodri injury is crucial, as in, how long is he going to be out for with this groin? Because it does seem like it's definitely more than a 1 to 2 week thing. But yeah, even the run-in, we've seen City drop points as well. Arsenal will probably drop points as well, but I think Arsenal have got enough to do it. So I'm going to stick my neck out and go against, the grain of Guardiola and City, and say that Arsenal are going to just fall over the line.
And how's that going to feel to you, Ash?
Absolutely horrible. And for the second summer in a row, I will not be seen. And then going on
God.
holiday for 3 months like last summer.
Cricket season soon, isn't it, Ash?
Cricket season. I don't have Formula One. I've still got to
World
wait a
Cup.
couple of weeks.
World Cup.
Yeah.
World Cup.
Can't even go to that because it's too expensive. But, might not be able
Yeah.
to fly because there might not be enough jet fuel. Let's see.
That's another podcast, isn't it? But I agree with you, Ash. I've always felt this season, as much as I'm piling in every time you drop points, I've always felt you will just get over the line. Obviously, it could be wrong. But yeah, as much as earlier in the season I was saying I could deal with it, we've got to have a little word on your fan base. Is it fair to say,
right, I'll jump in here.
I've not even asked the question.
Come on, Kia.
Yeah, I know what you can
Let's
say.
do this.
Go on, I'll let you answer. I'll let you ask the
No,
question.
it's fine. I don't even know what question. I just knew the Arsenal fan base question would trigger you. So go on.
This is just social media, isn't it? Like, I had this argument with a Bolton fan the other day, and he was saying, "Oh, I'd love it if
A Bolton fan.
Yeah, I'd love it if you bottled it." And this, I was like, "Hang on a minute, why?" And he goes, "Oh, I hate Arsenal fans." So I said, "How many Arsenal fans do you know?" And he said,
You.
none. So it's just all social media, and obviously we all know what works on social media, how the algorithms sort of work. And I give the example, we all watch the overlap and all that sort of stuff. If you look in the fan debate, a few months, maybe even a few seasons ago, there was a fella, Sal, you'll probably know, called Clive, and he's on Twitter. I think he's Clive AFC. Not quite. I can't remember his Twitter. Yeah, he does an Arsenal podcast as well, but he's really level-headed. He's an older guy, really level-headed, really smart, talks really well, just logic and facts and, none of this stuff. I think he did about 2 episodes on the overlap fan debate and just got rid of him for another, mouthy idiot.
Too level-headed, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what works on social media, and it's not just Arsenal, United, Chelsea.
Yeah.
They've all got their clickbait fans and rage.
Well, obviously,
fans.
United is Mark Goldbridge has just been bought out by Gary Neville as well.
Yeah, so Gary Neville's going down that route as well.
Yeah.
You see it in all sorts of media content that the fans who create the most noise and give the most silly opinions, they get the most clicks and views and in the end the most money. So yeah, if you sort of logically think, how many Arsenal fans do you know in real life? That there's your answer. If I'm arguing with a guy from Bury, he's a Bolton fan saying, "Oh, I hate Arsenal fans," and then you ask him, "How many Arsenal fans do you know?" and he goes, "Well, just you." And there's your answer. It's just all driven by the algorithm and the media. Yeah.
So, Sal, do you agree Arsenal the most hated fan base, or do we give you a good run for your money?
I 100%. Like, especially this season, I don't know what's happened to people. Like, honestly, I don't know what people have had, but it just seems like Man City, Man United, like Man United are loving Man City fans, vice versa. Chelsea are loving Liverpool fans. Man United and Liverpool fans are coming together.
I'm just going to quash this right now. When you were chasing us in the league, when we play Spurs, you support Spurs. So let's just
that's not true.
Let's just leave it there. Whichever rival is playing in terms of getting points off that team.
Yeah.
We all want that team to win.
When Spurs played you lot last season in the Europa League final, obviously it was funny that Spurs won, but I give my standard prediction or standard request. When 2 rivals play, what you want is a 22-man brawl and a points deduction. That's what you want, or the game called off. You can never say, "I want Spurs to win" or "I want United to win." You just say, "No, I just want the game to be called off." But it was funny when Spurs beat you in the Europa League final.
But I just want to say this: like, if Arsenal do win either the Champions League or the Premier League, Man United fans, Liverpool fans, Man City fans, actually they don't exist, but Tottenham fans, they're going down anyway. Chelsea fans, watch your backs. Just watch your backs. Yeah, they're getting out.
Fair play.
They're getting out.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think in basically a month's time we'll know roughly, right? So yeah. All right, we'll see how it plays.
This podcast is sponsored by Go Play Sports, the brand new mobile app changing the game for grassroots. Whether it's Sunday League or five-a-side, Go Play Sports makes it easy to track attendance, manage teams and cut out the manual admin. No more endless group chats, no more chasing payments, just turn up and play. Go Play Sports. Download now from your app store.
Just quickly then to wrap up, I want to get your boys' opinion on Man United. Yeah, obviously we've just touched on it there last season. Absolute disaster, culminating in losing to Spurs in the European final in Bilbao. Obviously finishing 15th in the league as well. This season, knocked out of the League Cup to Grimsby. Ruben gets sacked. I saw the smile on your face there, Sal.
Do we need to list this out? This is
Yeah,
painful.
no, because this is the roller coaster we've been on. And then, obviously January, Sir Michael Carrick gets the job, and
But it seems like a lot of United fans have forgotten that you guys had lost to Grimsby.
well, this is why I have to remind them, because
I have no memory from last year.
Locked it out on you, Ash.
everything's rosy. The club's being run well. They picked the right manager.
My season started on January the 8th, I think, when Ruben left.
So obviously, we've had a pick up. I think you touched on it, Sal. That first game of Carrick, we beat City. Was it 3-1 in the end? I can't remember. It should have been like 5-1 with all the offside goals. But then we beat you guys, and we've had a good run. I think Carrick's won. Ash, is it 9 in 12 now? I want to say. Obviously, we lost to Leeds, so that is another defeat. But I think he's won 9.
Yeah, 8 or 9. I think I rolled the stat earlier in the group. Ruben, I think, collected 31 points from 20 games, and Carrick's got 26 points from 12. So enough said.
Yeah. So again, before we started the pod, we were talking about, I was talking about possible similarities between Arteta getting the Arsenal job and Carrick getting the United job. And I think it's slightly different because I know Arteta had a bit of a bumpy start, whereas Carrick's had a pretty strong start. So Sal, coming to you on this one, do you reckon Michael Carrick could be our Arteta in terms of getting United competing for the title?
I think everything looks a bit too rosy right now for you guys, doesn't it? It's mainly because, it's easier when you're not in many competitions and, your games are spaced out every week, or in
it didn't
your
help
case,
us for the Leeds game, though.
Three games in 49 days.
Yeah.
It's interesting how Arsenal know that. But
Bruno's got a second
job.
job.
It's all over social media. It's all over social media.
Bruno's got a second job in Tesco, right, AJ? Stacking shelves.
Have you said that, mate?
But I think Carrick's done quite well to be where he is. But also, I think, from Arsenal fans' perspective, give him the contract. Give him the contract for next season. When he starts to play 3 times a week, then you'll know. The wheels will fall off by Christmas. He'll get sacked. New manager, welcome January.
The cycle.
It's another recycle.
Luis Enrique, here we come.
And Enrique's come to Arsenal if he's...
On a level though, Sal, very quickly, because we talked about it in the summer. You said Ruben is playing football to get himself fired, right, with the tactics. So Carrick deserves credit, right, in terms of people call it gone back to basics, but he's actually just playing to the strengths of the squad, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's playing with the toys that he has already. Sort of like Arteta on the weekend. He had to play Eze on the left, Madueke on the right, even though he probably didn't want to, but he had to. But sometimes it does work out, sometimes it doesn't. But like I said, I think the boys at Man United, they have the full backing of the manager. He trusts them, vice versa, and stuff. So it looks good for United at the moment. But like I said, it's not easy when you play 3 times a week.
Yeah,
I'm an Arsenal fan, Arsenal.
No, that's fair. And also,
even with a big squad like that, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
Steve, just to add on that, you've sort of compared Arteta and Carrick in terms of, is Carrick the Arteta for United? They're very different in terms of temperament, and I think that's one of the most important things for a manager. You want someone with the right temperament. Carrick couldn't be more different from what I can see to Arteta. Arteta's intense, probably most certainly a micromanager, sort of details person. and that's what Arsenal needed at the time. They needed someone to sort of shake them out that slumber, give them a bit of steel, make them a bit stronger. And Carrick, I think, has got the perfect temperament for United. He just calms everything down. He's not throwing his players under the bus. There's a lot of noise around United. As we talk about, we're on a United podcast, so we know how much noise and sort of stuff there is about United. Just the amount of stuff you hear about United, it's unbelievable. And Carrick just seems to take it all in his stride. He calms everything down, and I think that is the most important thing. I think for United, just to bring a bit of balance and sensibility back to the club, really. But yeah, I quite like Carrick in terms of the right temperament at the right time for the right club.
But you know what, right? I think it also goes back to when you guys had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I thought that he actually done a really good job, but you got rid of him, and I don't understand why until today that happened, because I think a couple of more years maybe he would have done an excellent job. But I hope that they don't do the same with Carrick. But in a way, yes, I do. I do hope that, because then your wheels fall off earlier. But yeah, it just seems that I think getting a younger manager who has a bit more experience maybe should do the job for you guys.
Who else is out there?
Well, I was going to touch on this. So
Come on,
AJ,
Steve, you want to get into it, so
well,
tell us.
no, just like obviously AJ, we've spoken, I think, from the midway point of the season. Obviously, I think basically when Ruben got sacked, a lot of United fans were calling for the likes of Tuchel, Carlo, and Enrique. And me, as an arrogant United fan, and I still believe this, that we could have got them if we went for them aggressively enough, which I don't believe Ineos have done. You always said that, they're out of our league, because we did finish 15th last season. So, yeah, Ash, do you believe we could have got them, or do you think it was a case of, they weren't available and, it wasn't possible?
I think we spoke about it on the group chat a few days ago. If they wanted Luis Enrique, Carlo Ancelotti, or Thomas Tuchel, they could have got it done. But they obviously haven't gone deep enough or shown the willingness to go and get them, right? Because contracts are there to be broken. Obviously, you have to pay compensation to do that. But it's been clearly a case of let Carrick take the wheel. He's obviously done a good job. That's kind of blurred the lines, I'd say, for Ineos. And look, obviously, if it comes out in the Athletic in their 20,000 word article, in May, that they did really aggressively go for all these guys, behind the scenes, but no movement for this summer anyway, then fair enough. So we need that article to come out. But in terms of what AJ said, in terms of those managers wouldn't want to manage United, absolutely not in my case. They would want to manage Manchester United even if they had finished 15th. We're shown in the transfer window last summer. To be fair, people like Brian Mbeumo, Matthias Cunha, they would have been really good at Arsenal. They really would have helped Arsenal, squad this season with the amount of goals they've got. And, they still joined us rejecting Spurs, Newcastle with Champions League football. Sesko rejected Newcastle with Champions League football. So if we're actually half decent, which we are now, there's scope, right, in terms of who we would want to get, whether it's a manager or player.
It's not happening now, though, isn't it? Carrick's got it, surely.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Because I think the way they're probably going to play it now is give a job to Carrick. If he does a good job next season, then they will just see what the market's like. It probably depends on the progression of Carrick. For example, if he finished 5th next season and they got Champions League, but it's not quite trajectory what they're looking for, and let's say Luis Enrique, Carlo Ancelotti are available, they might look at it again. I think the turnaround of manager, the days of Wenger, Ferguson, even Klopp, Pep Guardiola, like they're very rare now. Like you're seeing the mess at Chelsea. Like they're going to fire Rosenior, whether it's now or at the end of the season. So Chelsea are getting a new manager.
Yeah.
If Spurs get relegated, De Zerbi's probably going. Do you know what I mean? Like the cycle of a manager is just very short, and we are basically seeing Real Madrid manager lifelines now. Look at Xavi Alonso, unbelievable job at Leverkusen. How long did he last? 6 months, 7 months?
Probably not even that. No,
Not even that, right? So it is the life of a manager. I think one of the boys was talking about, you know, like you become a manager now and you just basically pick up compensation. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because like going back to Arsenal as well, I don't think they should do this, but like if Arsenal don't win the league this season, there's going to be a certain amount of Arsenal fans being like, well, it's time to change. What AJ said, who are you going to get who's done what Arteta's done in the league over the last like 4 or 5 seasons?
And that conversation sort of scares me as well at the same time, because the talks are around, if Arteta doesn't win anything, then you know they'll look to sack him and get Cesc Fabregas in. Well, I don't understand that. No, I'd rather still have Arteta on, especially if Pep goes. If Pep goes next year, who do you think's winning the league?
You'll be favourites, I think.
We'll be favourites, right?
Most
And
likely.
you know,
Will be
just to kind of
So-
like wind up everyone, it's like Carrick, you know, with the 12 games or 11 games, he's top of the table. So it just shows you like
good job.
this league is there to be taken at the moment in terms of like, outside of Pep, the league is there for everyone, especially with good transfer windows. That's key. Like the reason we're third is because we had a good transfer window, and you know we finally got a manager who plays the right, you know, formation as a minimum, right? Let alone the tactics. So it just shows you like a Liverpool, an Arsenal, even a Chelsea. I think the boys were talking about it before recording. Goalkeeper, centre back, and a centre forward. Chelsea are back in the mix to not just get top 4 but win the league. It's the same for United. If we can get a boss midfielder and a couple of other like better players, we can go for the league next season. Doesn't mean we're going to win it, but we can at least go for it. And I think there's about 4 or 5 clubs in the mix who can do that. Like a Newcastle, who have been unbelievable for like 4 or 5 years. They can't do that because of, you know, the financial restrictions. So even when they're good, their best players then go to Liverpool. You know, there's an argument I've been hearing over the last 24 hours that, you know, Arsenal should have gone and got Isak in the summer. You know what I mean? Because it's those fine margin things again, right? It's like if Isak's in front of goal against Donnarumma, does he put it in the back of the net versus Kai Havertz? It's all these kind of like minor little details.
All right. Well, all to play for then, with 5 or 6 games to go. I'll just end with asking you one question each. Ash, you've already said who you think will win it, but AJ, who's going to win the league?
Arsenal.
Arsenal. I can't say that and say it's not going to be Arsenal.
Yeah, you can't.
No way.
What about you, Steve?
I still believe.
I do think Arsenal as well. Ash, you've already said you think Arsenal will win it. However, who do you want to win it?
I want anyone to win it. You want the season to end now.
You want Donald Trump to wipe us out,
I want Donald
yeah?
Trump to come and just start World War III. It's like COVID all over again, and Liverpool never won the league.
Go on, then. You got to say, gun to your head, who you picking?
Can't do it.
I'll say it. I'll say it.
I'd rather have my brains blown out.
I'd pick Manchester City. There are our rivals. You should take it as a compliment that I value our rivalry more fiercely than Manchester City, because who are they? They've got 115 charges waiting to be dealt with.
I think Sal said it anyway. Like, who are their fans anyway, right? You look at the Etihad with
They
5,
can't even
6
fill up
games
the
to go. It's Etihad.
Yeah, mate. There were a lot of Arsenal fans in the City and in the Carabao Cup final than there were City fans, probably. Honestly, they can't fill this in their own stadium.
Of Arsenal fans in the City end at the Carabao Cup final. I wonder who that would be.
Yeah. I wonder who had a good view.
It's a great place to end on lots of different cuck examples there. So long live the cuck. Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.